Good evening, everybody. It's Nicole Johnson Starr and Kevin Lake with two Whackos and Key Lime PIE. It's Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. How are you guys? This has been one heck of a crazy week. We have new volunteers. We have things coming up. We're shifting from out of Facebook and over into moving everything into the website. And we've got webinars coming. I mean, things are happening. And I am so grateful to just be alive right now and talking to you guys, because last week we moved the horses over and had a little bit of fun with that. And went to Florida this weekend, and we'll talk about that as soon as Kevin finishes restarting his computer, because Kevin is stuck over in the Philippines fighting the internet there. So as usual, be patient, because Kevin will be jumping on here as soon as he does. And but until then, let me tell you about Florida, because Florida rocked my socks. To Holly, whose boyfriend is Ryan, please know that you will be happy to know that there are individuals now working on Ryan's case. So there is some good news in the veteran, so into the individuals who asked for the list of resources from the last show, hey, I kept my promise. It is now listed. You guys can actually go and find it. It's called List of Resources. Yeah, I know, highly imaginative and creative title there, but I wanted it to be something that would be easy to find. Now, I will tell you this, it is information packed. So be ready with your pencil, pen, and paper, or your computer screen, whatever you want to use to type down things. Now, here's the cool things, because it's internet radio, you can actually rewind. Just move that play button right back to where you need it to be and hear it again. So that's something that can definitely happen for you with ease. And then on top of that, I'm actually giving Kevin a call because he's now coming online now. Yay! Go, Kevin. Hey, late one. Ha ha! I am on time, and you were like, where are you? Ha! Oh, excuses, you hear them every day.
Hey, man. Hey, I was a lower enlisted infantryman, a lower enlisted soldier in the Army.
Hey. Well, I'm just glad to see you. You guys, Kevin, as you can tell, Kevin is now back with us. But I was just telling him about, all the fun things, and I got the list of resources out that we had so many requests for from when you and I were talking last, and I mentioned like a few places like Vets Prevail and all these great shows. Why are you bouncing up and down?
Because you're inside my house today. We're not in the garage, folks. Usually I broadcast live from my garage so my 2-year-old little boy doesn't see me and make it impossible for us to have a conversation. Well, he and Dearly are in the city visiting friends, so I get to be in my house. You're on my table, and it's cheap Chinese Tai, and Tai is a certain form of excrement in the native language.
Oh,
so you know what that means.
Kind of like the German Scheisse?
Huh? The table will bounce when I type on here, so that's why you're bouncing.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. I'm just glad to see you. I've missed you. It has been 2 weeks since my last confession with you.
Yeah. Get ready to say about 178,000 Hail Marys and Our Fathers.
Yeah. I'll give it a good holy... Anyway, so I got to speak to one of your buddies.
Yeah?
Mr. Kyle Ringdigger. Ringeisen, that's it. And he may actually be calling in tonight, so just be prepared, because he's going to be doing some dishing on you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I want to put the word out there. We're on the air. Live.
I don't know. I think it might be worth it. He said he might call in on an irregular basis just to check in and say hi, dish a little bit on you, and let the world know just how crazy you were.
He was one of my battle buddies, and shoot, he's probably got some stories that are hilarious that I've just simply forgotten in my old age and deranged state of mind.
This is why we have battle buddies, to keep us in line and remember those things that we've forgotten. So
yeah, and to drop dimes on us and throw us under the bus, huh?
I'm really looking forward to it. It is official. It's actually unofficial. You know, informally, I've welcomed him to the team. So
yeah.
I told him he can dish on you ad nauseum. So I'm looking forward to that. And we also get to welcome Kathy O'Callahan Dunn. She is 100% Irish, and she is a 100% Irish worker as well. Works her butt off. She helped transfer all the notes over from the Facebook page over to the website. So she took 6 pages of notes, note hyperlinks, and put them all into a single document to make it easier for us to put into the new website. So very grateful. Yes, very grateful indeed. And I had fun in the sun, though I really didn't see much of it over in Florida.
Oh, did you finally take a vacation?
No, I went there to speak on this. Did the Wounds of War symposium out of Nova Southeastern University. Spoke with judges and lawyers and doctors and psychologists and psychiatrists and professors and students and all sorts of individuals, along with this wonderful panel of experts while out there. And you want to talk about people that are geared towards making a difference for veterans? This was definitely filled with those individuals.
What's the name of the group you were talking to?
We were talking to just a whole bunch of professionals, mental health, legal.
Okay, like LCSW, psychiatrists, psychologists,
as well as lawyers and judges, and it was just there's the common public as well. I mean, and professors and students, just from all over. The panel came from all over the country, and it was actually just as informative as it was fun to get the information out. Matter of fact, getting to see the legal side of what, of supporting individuals with PTSD, I didn't expect that. The Veterans Court is strictly for that, to work with veterans that are struggling with PTSD that affected whatever they were doing, so that way they can get assistance with their PTSD and TBI, and other mental health issues.
So instead of just filling the jails and the prisons in America up with a bunch of suffering veterans who aren't getting the help they need, they're actually going to hold them to account for whatever they did, but also make sure they're getting the help. What is that called? Rehabilitation? Isn't that the whole point of the penal system in the U.S. anyway?
I will go with the fact that yes, they are going to get assistance with that, and they're already doing this. There was the first mental health court was started by the Honorable Judge Ginger. I always forget her last portion of her name because she is just so dynamic. Ginger is just the perfect name for her. So she's Judge Ginger in my mind. If she were to have a TV show, it would be
Is
Judge
she a redhead?
No, she's definitely a brunette. Because she handled the crowd. I get to tell you, she handled it like her courtroom. And it just cracked me up of just how powerful she is. And she's like 5'0" in heels. And she's like this powerhouse. And it was just amazing. It was like some of the other females that were sitting here, some law students and some of the other mental health providers. We were just like, wow, we are sitting before history right now because she is that amazing. And then Professor Peregrine, oh my gosh, he was channeling his Shakespeare. You guys, the pictures of all these people, along with their names and everything else, is located on the PTSD Retreat Facebook page, so you can actually see who I'm talking about. There are actually, did you know there are JAG officers working within the veteran courts?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes. There are retired and separated JAG officers that are veterans that have committed their lives to working with veterans within the veteran courts to make sure they get due process and also treatment for their disabilities in the same time. It's amazing what these guys are doing. And there's also, I get to shout out for Major Evan Seaman. He is a JAG officer with the United States Army, active duty. He is determined to keep veterans out of the legal system.
Good.
By making sure the commanders step up and do their job before it even gets to that point.
Good.
So,
instead of hanging them out to dry?
He is 100% committed to it. And I actually get to tell you, every single person I got to talk to was committed to taking care of our veterans. It was so nice. And the VA got nailed. It was amazing to see the honesty that was coming forward about the VA.
Really?
Yes, there was not a politically correct answer. It was, one of the individuals there, he's a former JAG officer, stated that there is no way, actually no, he's reserved now, he's still in reserves, I won't give his name because he's still active. He said there's no way he would go to the VA for his PTSD because he doesn't want it to get back to his unit and suffer repercussions of it or lose his job. He was blatant about it. And there were also J.B. Moore. She's a attorney. She was also there, and she was telling. She works for NAMI, and she was very blatant as well about the different things with the VA and the process of getting veterans help and assistance and shortfalls and areas that get to be fixed, and just determined. Every single one of these people were determined, and the best person that was there is a student of ethics. She's never served in the military. Her family members are not military, and her name is Erica Jess. I always messed up her last name. Let's put it this way: she's legally blonde. She's legally blonde, just like the movie. Okay. She is the character in person.
So she's a genius, a legal genius who plays the ditzy, hey, look at me, I'm just a cute little blonde, and before you realize how dangerous I am, I'll have your throat cut.
Pretty much. But okay, she's nicer than that.
Good for her.
She is amazing. She actually did a talk. She closed the symposium with a talk about how the military deserves to do their due diligence of taking care of veterans before they even come out of the military. And how the spiritual aspect deserves to be addressed as well. I mean, she hit the nail on the head, and she wrote from an unbiased standpoint. She's never served. She doesn't know. She just has a heart for the military.
Right.
It was phenomenal. And then we also had Mike Kubich, former Army guy that's 101st Airborne.
Airborne.
Yes, and he spoke from a very personal standpoint about PTSD, and showed the true face of what PTSD looks like. And I was so honored to be able to talk to him. He's actually going to be on the radio, so he's going to share his presentation on the radio for everybody. But it was an honor to sit with him and be there with him. And, matter of fact, with every single one of these panel members, there were so many of them. And Dr. Kate McGraw, and oh my goodness, and Pat, and I mean all these wonderful people. They even alternative methods were brought forward. There's some doctors that were 100% evidence-based, only evidence-based, and then there are other providers out there that were saying, you know what, there's other alternatives, and yes, they do work. Not everything works for everybody, as you know, but there's other things besides meds and evidence-based treatments that the VA offers. So, and this was a VA provider that actually stated this. So, the system may be broken, but there are good people going in.
There are.
So, may the good people continue to go in. But anyway, long story short, it was a great weekend. And I never once got to put on my swimsuit, and I forgot to even get to the beach because we were having that much. Oh! Do you know Ralphie May?
Who?
Who the Ralphie May is?
No.
Look at that comedian.
Remember, I stay out of tune with American pop culture intentionally in my efforts to continually rewire my brain.
With
Ralphie
PTSD.
May?
He has PTSD.
Okay, I just found his Facebook page. He's got 90,000 followers. Wow.
This guy is amazing. And I will say this, leave your sensibility and your morality at the door. You know, when you watch his show, because I got to see his show. And, wow. He coined a term, CVS couture. Like Walmart couture. It's... Anyway, your face tells me you don't get it. It's... Okay, just look at the Walmart dress. You look at Walmart fashion, you can find it on YouTube. But then the smile is well earned before you even see it, I'm telling you. But he has PTSD, and he is so open about it, and he works with soldiers and has gone over so many times. I think he said like 15 times to do shows for veterans. So he's supposed to be giving me a call. We'll see if that happens. But yeah, I want him to do another show here in the United States, not just overseas. That's strictly geared.
So this guy does most of his shows overseas?
He does his show. He does tours over for military members that are overseas serving. So, and it's not something I heard about, which is even cooler because he's not in it for the money or the recognition on it. It's just because he supports troops. So that was pretty cool getting to meet him and talk with him. So I even got my picture with him. So, but anyway, I got to see some crazy clothes. If you are a man, Florida nights are definitely a place that you will enjoy. Or if you're gay, you know, if you're a lesbian or a very hot-blooded male, you will enjoy Florida nights down in Fort Lauderdale. Because you will see everything there. That's the
Is that the name of the club, or are you just talking about nights in Florida?
I'm just talking about nights in Florida. The people that were walking in Florida. We went over to the Hard Rock Casino. And I didn't know it was possible to walk around in public with that much flesh showing. So...
Yeah, I spent a week in Key West a few years back, and by American standards, I was quite awed myself. There's things you see here every day. It's no big deal, but this isn't America, you know. It's crazy. It's one of those cultural extremity norms, as I call it. In America, well, how do I explain it? People are... Oh, never mind. I'm not going to go into that. It was a wrong train of thought. I'm also getting over another cold because you know how they talk about not having enough sense to get out of the rain? Well, it's extra special. You've got to do that here because it's 100 degrees every day, so then when it rains, you always come down with a cold. But I think since I lived in Seattle or the Washington Pacific Northwest area and got rained on every day, that I'm excluded from that rule, and every time it rains, I learn that I'm not. So I'm sorry. I'm a little snuffy. So I completely lost my train of thought. So you were on a roll with all these great things you were saying, and I just spent 3 minutes with nothingness.
That's okay, because you know what? I was
That's
going
what I do.
on. I will say this. You can see the pictures on the PTSD. I've missed you, Kevin.
That's good. I'm glad
you know what? I get to actually bring something up because I'm not the only one that has great news. Mr. Overnight doing more sales in one night while you're sleeping than you've done in the entire month.
Yeah. Well, then I did the entire first month and second month the book was in print. Yeah. Yeah, it was, you know, I put in 12 to 14 hours a day working, reading, writing, and marketing. And the marketing efforts, I've gone up to 50 contacts a day. But yeah, I was blessed and fortunate enough this week to have a group I've been working with for quite some time called 100% Fed Up. Finally run a story on the book. I've been talking to them for several months and just being politely persistent, you know, following up with them every 2 or 3 weeks. And they kept saying, hey, we haven't forgotten about you, but look, you've got some foul language in this excerpt you sent. Can you please change it? Can you please change it? Can you please change it? And I stuck to my guns and I said, no, listen, it's okay to go ahead, tell your fans. They've got a lot of conservative followers, and I understand people, you know, on the left and the right don't really like that kind of language. But as I explained it to them, you know, as a writer, you've got to be honest, not just with this, you know, in the reality of the story, but also in the reality of the dialogue that your characters speak with. And this is such an important issue to me and you, Nicole, and so many other people out there, the veteran suicides, the drug mismanagement that's going on that's causing most of it, in my humble opinion, and based upon my own experiences as a veteran with PTSD who was blasted out of my mind with at 1.7 different medications, one of which was to offset side effects of one of the others. I mean, it was just crazy. And so I told them this, and 100% fed up. I said, listen, I'm sorry. I know you want me to take out some of the bad words, but when demented, disheartened, disabled veterans with PTSD are having conversations with their care providers or their buddies,
Stop
or someone
slamming the table.
Huh?
Stop
well,
exactly.
People that, I'll call it an ism, like one of the characters in the book does, Dr. Barnes. When people with this ism, I mean, that's how they talk. They use the F word. They use the other words. And to take that out and to cover it up and to sugarcoat it doesn't paint an accurate picture. And if we're not painting an accurate picture when we're discussing these issues, we are doing our brothers and sisters in arms, our sons, our daughters, our mothers, our fathers who are serving, who have served, and who are struggling as a result of that, a great disservice. Okay? Things I wrote about in the book, fictitiously, have finally, just this week, come out in government reports. 22 veterans a day are committing suicide in America. 22 a day. The government's finally saying, oh, it's worse than we thought. No, it's not worse than you thought. You're finally reporting how bad it is. However, let me point out, they still are not including suicide from the Army reservists, any branch of the military reserves, or National Guard members. If they were to include those numbers, the suicide rate among veterans in America would be twice as high as it is. However, National Guardsmen are coming home. They're getting out of the military. 6 months later, they're putting the end of a gun in their mouth and they're blowing their own heads off. And those suicides are not being included in the numbers because they're National Guardsmen and reservists and they're not serving active duty. So no, government, it's not worse than you thought. You're finally just revealing some facts you haven't, such as high-ranking military doctors are working as liaisons for the pharmaceutical companies within the Army hospitals, and they're making sure that when they're doing these studies, revealing these numbers, Nicole, we all know about statistics. We can make them look any way we want them to look. Yes. They're making sure to exclude certain psychedelic drugs that have known side effects of suicidal tendencies from their tests, of which they're reporting results going into these suicide numbers.
I am actually going to talk about one specific soldier that totally got screwed over. Sergeant, not specialist, Sergeant David Ladart. David Isaiah Ladart. Folks, if you have not heard his story, go on to Facebook, Sergeant, and that's just, straight Sergeant. Sergeant David Isaiah Ladart. And look up his story because he died, he committed suicide. He self-reported about his PTSD to get assistance. The unit did not serve him as they deserved to. The doctor never read his file to see that the medication he was about to put him on gave him suicidal thoughts the first time he was put on it, and put him back on the same drug. The drug was Strattera. And I'm going to tell you folks, please, doctors see a lot of different people. They do. They see so many different people. Mistakes happen. This was a mistake that deserved not to occur. But if you see something, you do not have to take it. Talk to the doctor and tell them no. Tell them you won't take it. And if a doctor tells you something's not addictive, go online, look up the medication. Take that name of the medication, go online. All you have to do is type it in, and the pharmaceutical company will actually list out all the side effects to it, and you will actually see whether or not it's addictive or not. So do that, because I've actually had a doctor tell me that certain drugs are not addictive. One of them being tramadol.
Amen.
And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So anyway, Sergeant David Isaiah Ladart, his mother is going to be coming on the show to share about his story, and I encourage you guys to read it for yourself, because if this is happening to one individual, I guarantee there's happening to somebody else, because some parents won't speak for it. They're so upset by what has happened that they feel disheartened. Their heart is broken, and they can't share it. And this soldier died because a lot of people failed him in advance, and that's happening all over. A lot of people are failing, and folks, there are ways to get past this. Okay, now I'm about to get on my own soapbox. When it comes to suicide, folks, there are signs. And not always are they easily read, but if somebody tells you, I'm having troubles, don't ignore it. Don't say, oh, don't worry about it, man. We'll work through this later. Listen to them. Watch their body. Watch their face. If they come forward saying, hey, I'm having trouble with PTSD, take them seriously. If they say, I'm having trouble sleeping, if they tell you, man, I'm just not feeling like myself, or, I haven't been feeling like doing anything I enjoy right now. I don't know what is going on. I'm pissed off, or, this is all effed up. However they put it, it doesn't matter. If I used Kevin's way of tweeting, it would be filled with lots of curse words because Kevin is a normal individual and I'm a little weird. So, it's okay. Let them talk. Let them vent. Let them use whatever curse, whatever they want to say, and just let them vent it out. And listen. Don't just go, yeah, man, what's it, whatever. No. Stop what you're doing. Give them eye contact. And listen to what they're saying, because that may be the moment for them. If you're not listening, that may be the moment they say, you know what, no one cares. Make that eye contact and listen to them. Ask them what they want from you. Ask them how you can be there for them. Because sometimes just automatically throwing a whole bunch of stuff out there, it doesn't do them any good. Asking them a question, you know what, man, how can I be there? What do you need from me? What can I do? And it's a simple question. They may just say, you know what, you're doing what I needed. I just need someone to listen. Or they may say, go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, I was just going to say about how right you are. One of the things about being an author is every time you write a book, and I write novels, it's fiction, okay? Now, I of course, put fact inside the fiction to make it real, and especially with this one, it was to raise awareness, and people have said, oh, you write about ghosts and paranormal, and, why did you write this? Can we really take your word for it if you're into all that other crazy stuff? Well, guys, it's an interest. I mean, there are veterans out there that play guitars in heavy metal rock bands. Does that mean they're not qualified to talk about PTSD if they suffer from it? They've researched it, so on and so forth. But the thing is, when you're an author, a lot of people will read your book, and it's flattering, but it's at the same time, it's kind of dangerous. They'll view you as if you're some sort of an expert on that topic. And folks, I'm not an expert in mental health care or on PTSD. I know a heck of a lot about it because of the research for the book, because I suffer from it. But about a week ago, one of my friends sent me a message and said, oh my God, I've got a friend that is a suicidal Iraq war vet, and he is ready to kill himself, and I'm on my cell phone with him. What do I do? Well, she contacted me because I've written this book, and she actually read the book. And by the way, she said it was the first book she's read since college, and that was 20 years ago. So I'm flattered to bring her back into the world of literature. But Nicole, I told her everything you just said, and I got this idea from my own research and then from talking to you, and you founded the PTSD retreat, so you are highly qualified to talk about this. And I told my friend, I said, listen, whatever you do, don't preach. You might have some great ideas, you might have some great views on the things he's telling you, but simply ask open-ended questions that cannot be answered with a yes or a no. When they're done talking about something or they give you an answer, ask them, well, and I'm sorry, it sounds like sales, but it works. Ask them, how did that make you feel? Or, well, what was your response to that? What sort of outcome was there? Keep them talking.
Stop hitting that table.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I keep beating the Chinese PIE table. I pointed this out before. You guys complain about your Chinese-made products in America. Well, you guys get Class A Chinese products. All their Class B and C stuff gets redistributed to the rest of the Southeastern Asian Pacific Rim, so we get real Chinese crap. Anyway, okay. I mean, it's really hard to find good products here. That's the biggest frustration here. That and some other.
Well, hit your good old American lap.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, you got a point. Preaching does not work. But keeping them talking does. So you guys, what he's telling you is that you ask questions like who, what, when, where, why, and how. Those questions are open. Those are open-ended questions. Don't ask do, will, should, would, or could.
And especially stay away from I woulda. Well, guess what? It's not you. You weren't there. Shut up.
Unless you were.
Well, unless you were there, yeah, of course. But I mean,
But
one
still,
of
it's
the,
not about you.
I tried talking to my own father about Iraq twice, and both times he told me how stupid it was for me to have done what I did and how I'm lucky I'm not dead. And twice was enough for me. I mean, when you're there and you're in that situation, you don't know what you would do unless you are there in that situation. And to tell someone, oh, well, that was stupid, I wouldn't have done it that way, you're lucky you're still alive. Number one, you're right. We are lucky we're still alive. Number two, I mean, you basically devalue everything they did and everything they just told you.
Yeah.
And if they're coming to you for help, if they want to talk, it doesn't mean they're they're crybabying, or it is a plea for help, and that's not a bad thing. People talk about these plea for helps as if they're bad things. Listen, this person probably wants to kill themselves, but they probably also don't want to kill themselves.
Yeah,
It
by
sounds
the
like
way,
an oxymoron.
there is no such thing as an unsuccessful suicide. Does that make sense to you guys? There is no such thing as an unsuccessful suicide. If a person really wants to kill themselves, if a person really, really wants to kill themselves, they can do it. There are so many ways, but let's not focus on that. The point is, if someone is letting you know they're thinking about suicide, they don't want to kill themselves. If someone is sharing with you, if someone is trying to talk to you, if someone is trying to say, you know what, man, I'm done. I just can't do this anymore. I can't. Now, by the way, just because someone said that does not mean that they're wanting to commit suicide, but it could be they feel that way. I mean, just acknowledge the feeling.
Okay, they're
Acknowledge what
having the
saying.
suicidal tendencies and the suicidal thoughts, but they're at the 99% mark. But I hear what you're saying. Correct me if I'm wrong. If they are 100% for it, they're just going to do it and they're not going to talk about it, right?
Yeah, they'll be done.
But as they're building to that point, they want to talk.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of times when they're building to that point, they open up and then they hear you shouldn't have done it that way. I wouldn't have done it. You're like, well, they shut you down. They shut themselves down and they go up another 5 or 10% toward that 100%. And once they reach that, Nicole is right. They're gone. They're done. So if they're talking to you, you are a rung on the way up their ladder.
And
so,
here's something else, Kevin.
Uh-huh.
I had the honor of speaking to a 16-year-old who was committing suicide, had already slit her wrists, and changed her mind. So it is never, yes, when a person is dead, it's too late. But as long as that person is breathing, living, still has, body has not gone cold, you still have an opportunity to reach them. As there's the air is flowing through and their heart is pumping, their brain is working, you still have an opportunity to reach them. Even if they have already committed the act of, slitting their wrists, you can still reach them. And don't ever give up on somebody. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, no matter how hard they push you away, do not give
Nicole,
up.
I want to bring up something we've talked, and I'm not going to give information that I know you don't want me to give, but we talk about a lot of these issues that we both faced offline. Just as I told 100% Fed Up, no, I don't want to change the verbiage in the dialogue here between characters because I don't want to sugarcoat it. And bless their hearts and thank God for them. They finally ran it anyway, and they gave the warning, that there's some foul language, so people get that even on the article they ran. If they don't want to hear those bad words, then they don't read the article, don't read the book. But I think they kind of respected my strength and my standpoint that, look, this is serious, I don't want to sugarcoat it. You just mentioned the issue of the 16-year-old girl that you were talking to while she was in the act of committing suicide. That is a sight and an experience that few people in your field ever get.
We've just lost Kevin. He just locked up. First of all, let me correct you, Kevin, if you can still hear me. I didn't speak to her in that moment. She actually shared this with me. Okay, we're having a little bit of an issue here with the internet, but Kevin will be back. It's to actually get someone to tell you, I'm doing the act, or I've done the act, and this girl actually saved her own life. And she screamed for help as she's applying pressure to the spaces that she was actually, hold on, Kevin will be right back. We just lost internet. The pleasures of doing this, on the internet, we actually have, yeah, sorry you guys, it's just a little bit of a distraction. This girl actually had a moment of clarity, and she applied pressure and screamed for help. And her sister happened to hear her, and they got her help. And I got to talk to her a couple months later. And it's never too late. It isn't too late. And there are other individuals that have been able to reach out anyway, talking online, a phone call. I hate if there's a phone call when I'm sleeping, because I never know who's going to call. And I have gotten calls in the middle of the night at 3:30, 4:30, 5:30 in the morning from individuals that I was so surprised, but this is from an individual that I actually deployed with. And somebody I thought who didn't even notice, really never really connected with me, but reached out to me, and I was so honored. I was so honored. And here we are talking 3:30, 4:30, 5:30 in the morning, because it wasn't just one call. But it was when that person was having difficulties. And it's not the first time. I've had lots of people call me at that time. And it bugs me because by the way, if you want to know an area to volunteer, we need individuals that are willing to be on the phone throughout the night. If you are over in the UK or Australia and that's daytime for you and you're not working, please go ahead, volunteer to do it, and we will happily have you on here. And so, hey, welcome back, Kevin. I just went ahead and kept going. I was actually just telling people.
You knew where I was going with that story, and
yeah, I finished it.
You had an opportunity to shed light on an issue, but people wanted to sugarcoat it and put it in the closet and put it away and didn't want you to talk about it.
Yeah, people.
Did you share that with the people while I was experiencing my third world brown out here for the first time?
Yes, that is explained. I didn't go into it.
Anytime it rains and gets cloudy here, we lose internet, but we just lost electricity and water and internet. But the clouds are gone, and I see the sun out there now, and it all just came back on. Seriously, crazy.
I didn't go into all of that, but I just got to the really important things of don't give up on somebody. That's the point. But I was just telling people that if there's an area that people want to volunteer, we need people to man the phone during the night. If they want to, if they're on an opposite time zone, nighttime is daytime for them. So it's easy. If you're
trying to give me a hint.
No, I'm not trying to give you a hint. But if you want to take it as such, if your conscience tells you that that's a hint, I'll clap.
This group of these cute young ladies, they're called United Military Families, added me to be one of their page admins this week because it's night or daytime here when it's night there. I thought, well, okay. I mean, I can't tell people no, just like you, Nicole, and military families, and they say, hey, can you help us? I say, yeah, sure. So I go there. But fortunately for me, they 2 or 3 of them seem to be insomniacs. So even when it's 4 in the afternoon here, which would be 3 a.m. East Coast there, I'll go to the group to put something about PTSD or something on, and I see that they're on there posting, so I just, they finally go to sleep around the time I eat dinner, which is the time most people back there who work early are getting up for breakfast. So I'll post some things on there. But
yeah, you can do that on the PTSD retreat page too if you want.
Okay, well, I guess I need to do that. I need to, but
you don't need to. It's just always desired. So I love it when you post. So, but anyway, it's just the whole point is, and let me tell you guys why the suicide is so important to me, why it's coming up so much. There are veterans that are sitting in prison right now. One of them is my brother, and there are other veterans also that have been brought to my attention of late that are just running out of hope. And then on top of that, the retreat that we were supposed to be doing this weekend, the skydiving with the all-veteran parachute team, has been canceled. We're actually we're scrambling to recreate another retreat for the same location because the tickets have already purchased. Matter of fact, the first person flies in tomorrow night, and I'm just sharing that one of the team members, their former team members, committed suicide, and it stopped our experience for this weekend because that hit the team members so hard, and I don't even know which person it is that did it, but all I can say is that every single one of those guys are so dedicated to encouraging and motivating and inspiring our soldiers that have been through hell and back. And if you get that right in their midst, my heart goes back to every single one of them, and to the all veteran parachute team, and to all the former Golden Knights that are struggling with this. I want you guys to know that we are here for you, day or night. But and then I'm also talking to. There's a new client. Her son was murdered. And she's a military wife. And her son was 15. And it's just impacted that family. So, and then there's another guy today, a Navy SEAL who worked with individuals with post-traumatic stress. And he was killed while helping a guy on the firing range. It's been all over the news. And I just got told about it. And the guy that killed him is wanting to commit suicide. If someone had gotten to this guy sooner and had started working with him sooner, would that Navy SEAL still be alive?
And also, Nicole, too, I'll point out, working with him other than just throwing a bunch of bottles filled with pills down his throat and telling him, here, the big pharmas just came up with this wonder drug. We're trying to see if it works. Oh, here, you get to be one of the first to find out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, you guys, I hate this medication. Up until even last week, I was actually afraid to say just how much I hate medication. But I'm going to tell you guys, there are so many other alternatives, and medication deserves to be the last resort because nothing else is working.
Amen.
We do not need zombie soldiers. We do not need soldiers who can't even think straight because they're so, I almost said a curse word, they're so jacked up on these pills that when they stand in front of somebody, they're waving and swerving. And I'm thinking specifically of a circumstance that just recently occurred, but I'm telling you, our soldiers, now I'm hitting the table, our soldiers deserve better than this. We're supposed to have healthy soldiers, we're supposed to be 100 strong, Army strong. Hello! That does not mean Army freaking hyped up on freaking crazy drugs, marijuana, ecstasy, or any of these other bleep drugs. I'm sorry, it's just not okay. And we're supposed to be healthy and strong. We're supposed to be able to pass all these things. There's so much pressure. They're about to do another drawdown with another 80,000 troops being let go, and that just
80,000.
80,000, and that's supposed to be great for the economy. BS and yeah, I mean no.
Their annual salaries combined will be less money than one munition, less than one interballistic warhead.
All it does is this happens after every single conflict, every single time we start pulling out of somebody, we drop people off the roster. And that's wrong because there's a lot of people that are they're committed to the military. They're highly trained, very skilled, and they love the military family. They're not leaving. If folks are not wanting to leave that have been there, done that, and have seen the history of military, some of these guys that are just in for the 1 year, 2 year, 4 year, okay, let them go, but not those who want to be there. Or who are struggling with PTSD. That's not the time to be letting them go. But anyway, giving these folks meds is not keeping them healthy. You're just putting another substance in their body that if it doesn't work, they're going to go grab another substance to take care of the side effects of that substance. And that is just bull effing S.
Wow, you've mastered the art of hyphenated curse words.
Yes.
Hyphenated profanity. That's awesome.
I'm sorry, folks. It just makes me so angry. And I don't like cursing. And I want you guys to know this. It may be hard to quit smoking, and I have done that. It's harder to quit cursing because more people in the world curse than they do smoke. So I'm just telling you guys, I get so frustrated, and I hate hearing that they're pushing more meds and they're trying these new drugs. Instead of trying new drugs, push different alternatives. Push a new system of getting back to basics. Take them back to taking care of their families. Do treatments for their family members and for the soldier, not just the soldier, not just the couple. I mean the whole freaking family. And, reach out and get them back to what they remember they loved. Teach them ways that they can actually calm themselves, that they can actually heal themselves. I mean, RRT, rapid reduction therapy, EFT, emotional freedom techniques, yoga, dancing, art, writing, reading. Hello! Be